sovereign wealth funds quietly rewrite the rules of global economics, and you've never seen how deep their influence runs. From hidden rescue missions to steering climate policy, every move builds toward a surprise that no one expects at number one. Imagine a nation suddenly flush with surplus cash from oil, minerals, or trade surpluses, deciding to lock that wealth away for future generations. That was the birth of sovereign wealth funds, state-owned investment pools designed to preserve and grow national wealth beyond political cycles. Early pioneers like Norway's government pension fund and the Abu Dhabi Investment Authority turned fiscal windfalls into disciplined, long-term capital managers, establishing governance frameworks that emphasize transparency and risk diversification. Over decades, they amassed trillions, creating a financial leviathan capable of influencing markets without the volatility of private investors. Their core mission, safeguarding wealth for citizens, set the stage for a series of strategic roles that would later ripple through global policy and growth. This foundational purpose fuels every decision they make, from quiet market entries to overt diplomatic engagements, and it's the cornerstone of the story that unfolds toward the climax at number 10.
Surprisingly, sovereign wealth funds have become the go-to safety nets when economies teeter on the brink of collapse. During the 2008 financial crisis, several funds injected capital into distressed banks and sovereign bonds, cushioning the shock and preventing deeper recessions. Their massive, patient capital allows them to buy undervalued assets when private investors flee, stabilizing markets and restoring confidence. Because their mandates prioritize long-term national wealth over short-term profit, they can absorb losses that would cripple ordinary funds. This stabilizing power not only protects domestic economies but also sends a signal to global markets that a steady hand is present, often prompting other investors to follow suit. The ripple effect of these interventions reshapes fiscal policy, influences central bank actions, and underscores the strategic importance of sovereign wealth funds as hidden guardians of global financial stability.
In the quest for higher returns, sovereign wealth funds have turned their gaze toward fast-growing emerging markets, deploying billions into infrastructure, technology, and consumer sectors. By taking sizable stakes in countries like India, Brazil, and Vietnam, they not only chase yield but also foster economic development that aligns with their home nation's trade interests. These investments often come with strategic partnerships, technology transfers, and capacity-building programs that boost local employment and productivity. As a result, host countries experience accelerated growth, while the funds secure diversified, long-term revenue streams. This symbiotic relationship subtly steers regional economic policies, encouraging reforms that improve business climates and attract further foreign capital. The strategic placement of sovereign wealth in emerging markets thus becomes a quiet lever, shaping both domestic prosperity and the geopolitical balance of power.
Few people know that sovereign wealth funds wield considerable influence inside the boardrooms of multinational corporations. Holding substantial equity in companies ranging from energy giants to tech innovators, they can advocate for stronger governance standards, environmental responsibility, and social accountability. Their voting power often nudges firms toward sustainable practices, aligning corporate strategies with broader national policy goals such as carbon reduction or ethical sourcing. Moreover, the reputation of these state-backed investors encourages companies to adopt higher transparency levels, knowing that scrutiny from a sovereign entity can impact market perception and capital access. This indirect yet potent role reshapes corporate behavior worldwide, embedding policy objectives into private sector decision-making and creating a feedback loop that reinforces the fund's long-term investment thesis.
Hidden within the portfolios of many sovereign wealth funds lies a massive push toward renewable energy projects. Recognizing the climate challenges facing future generations, funds from Norway, Singapore, and the Gulf have earmarked portions of their assets for wind, solar, and hydroelectric developments. By financing large-scale clean energy infrastructure, they accelerate the transition away from fossil fuels, helping meet international climate accords while securing stable, long-term cash flows. Their involvement also signals confidence to private investors, unlocking additional financing and fostering technological innovation. This catalytic role not only advances global sustainability goals, but also positions the home countries as leaders in the green economy, influencing international energy policy and market dynamics.
Deep beneath the surface of global finance, sovereign wealth funds are quietly funding the world's most critical infrastructure. From highways in Africa to high-speed rail in Asia and ports in Europe, their long-term capital enables projects that private lenders often deem too risky or unprofitable in the short run. By taking equity positions or providing low-cost loans, they ensure that essential transport, logistics, and utilities networks materialize, fostering trade and economic integration. These investments also generate steady returns that match the fund's intergenerational objectives. The resulting infrastructure boost not only spurs regional growth but also reshapes national development strategies, prompting governments to prioritize connectivity and modernization in line with global competitiveness.
Remarkably, sovereign wealth funds have stepped into the frontier of technology, allocating capital to cutting-edge sectors like artificial intelligence, quantum computing, and biotechnology. By partnering with venture capital firms or taking direct stakes in innovative startups, they help nurture breakthroughs that can redefine economies. Their patient investment horizon allows them to support long-term research and development cycles that typical market players might avoid due to uncertain short-term returns. This technological patronage fuels national competitiveness, enabling home countries to secure leadership in future industries. Moreover, the diffusion of these technologies across borders influences global standards, regulatory frameworks, and the competitive balance among nations.
Consequently, sovereign wealth funds have become subtle instruments of diplomatic outreach, where capital flows double as signals of alliance or strategic partnership. When a fund invests heavily in a foreign nation's key sectors, it often reflects broader governmental intent to deepen ties, secure resource access, or support geopolitical objectives. These financial gestures can ease tensions, open trade channels, or counterbalance rival influences without overt political rhetoric. The resulting economic interdependence creates leverage that shapes foreign policy decisions, from trade agreements to security collaborations. In this way, sovereign wealth funds act as quiet diplomats, weaving financial muscle into the fabric of international relations.
Eventually, sovereign wealth funds serve as the backbone of long-term fiscal planning for many nations, especially those facing demographic shifts or volatile commodity revenues. By generating steady investment income, they help fund public pensions, healthcare, and education, reducing reliance on unpredictable tax bases. This fiscal cushion enables governments to pursue stable budgetary policies, maintain creditworthiness, and weather economic downturns without drastic austerity measures. The presence of a sizable fund also influences domestic policy debates, as lawmakers reference the fund's capacity to support or limit spending initiatives. Thus, these funds become integral to national financial resilience, shaping policy choices that affect generations to come.
Finally, the most forward-looking role of sovereign wealth funds lies in shaping the very future of global prosperity. By allocating capital to moon mining ventures, carbon capture technologies, and next-generation urban projects, they invest not just in profit but in the blueprint of tomorrow's economy. These visionary bets signal confidence in transformative ideas, encouraging private capital and governments to follow suit. As these high-impact projects mature, they can redefine energy systems, resource utilization, and societal structures, effectively steering the direction of international policy and growth for decades. In this climactic chapter, we see how sovereign wealth funds transition from custodians of wealth to architects of the world's next great era.
We've traveled from the humble origins of sovereign wealth funds as massive capital reservoirs to their present-day status as architects of climate strategy, tech innovation, and geopolitical balance. Each role we uncovered shows how these state-owned investors quietly pull the strings that shape economies and policies worldwide. If you enjoyed this journey and want to stay ahead of the next hidden force reshaping our future, hit subscribe. New mind-blowing lists arrive every week. Which role left you the biggest question mark? Share your thoughts below, and don't forget to like the video if it sparked your curiosity.